Hello, students. My name is Professor Waugh. I've been teaching Intro Chem for over 31 years. For this lesson, we're going to be focusing on some math, namely multiplication and division rules with significant figures. But this isn't like how you would perform calculations in your math class. There's a few different rules about working with math in chemistry. All right, let's start class. Quick note before we begin, we have a website. There you can find all the notes we write for our videos. We also have quizzes and assessments, so go check us out. Thanks. Multiplication and/or division with the rounding rules. All right, the rules for multiplication and/or division are very easy. Just report your answer with the same number of significant figures, which I call sig figs or SF, as the number in the operation that has the least number of sig figs. You know, you're never any better than your weakest link. So let's look at this simple example. 12 times 2, which is equal to 24 in your math class. Now, my students freak out about this. When you look at 12, I know that you know there's only 2 sig figs. When you look at 2, I know that you know there's only 1 sig fig. And in your math class, you would have said 24. But that's not what you're going to do in the chemistry class. You have to present the least number of sig figs whenever you're doing multiplication and division. So you've got to change that 24, keep the same magnitude, by removing that 4 and putting a 0, so it becomes 20, not 24. Do not put a dot at the end, because then your 20 dot would mean that that 0 is significant. So the final answer will be 20 without a decimal point at the end if it's the final answer for chemistry in decimal form, or 2 times 10 to the 1 if you want to put it in scientific notation. Remember, if there's only multiplication and/or division in the problem, just solve the problem moving from left to right. All right, here goes an example. Make sure to count your sig figs. 3.10 divided by 0.832 multiplied by 1.600 multiplied by 0.04. Check your sig figs. 3.10, 3 sig figs. 0.832, 3 sig figs. 1.600, 4 sig figs. And 0.04, 1 sig fig. So the least number of sig figs is just 1. So when we look at our problem, put in our trusty old calculator, we get 0.238. Box the 1 sig fig so you can see what's happening. Outside the box is a 3, so we don't have to do anything with the 2. So in decimal form, it's just 0.2 is the final answer. Rounding rules. All right, I've taught it different ways over the last 31 years, but this method works just fine, good enough for government work. If the digit that follows the last sig fig in the operation is 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, then leave the last sig fig in the operation the same. I mean, do not change it. If, though, the digit that follows the last sig fig in the operation is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, then you have to increase the last sig fig by 1. Now here's an example. 9.0 times 23 divided by 16.0. So again, this is just multiplication and division in the same problem, just move left to right. So 9.0 has 2 sig figs. 23 has 2 sig figs. 16.0 has 3 sig figs. So our final answer must have what? 2 sig figs, which ends up being 12.9375. But I only need 2 sig figs. Box it, make it clear for yourself. Look outside the box. There's a 9. So you got to round that 2 up to 3. So the final answer will be 13. Thank you for attending class. To recap, when calculating problems with multiplication and/or division, remember to use the number in the operation that has the least number of significant figures. However, when you take the last 6 figures, you got to know your rounding rules. So, if the digit that follows the last 6 fig is 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, then keep the last 6 fig the same. If the digit that follows the last 6 fig is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, then increase the last 6 fig by 1. Furthermore, if the equation only contains multiplication and division operations, then all you have to do is solve the problem going from left to right. We'll go more in depth with this in the upcoming PEMDAS video. So, stay tuned. Once again, thanks for watching. We are A Friend in Chem, and our mission is to help students learn introductory chemistry. Our email and website is in the description. So if there's any way we can help you, please contact us. We want you to be successful in chemistry, enjoy chemistry, and have fun with chemistry. Until next time, take care.